All right, back with you. It is San Diego sports leader. It is the Mighty 1090. Let us turn to Rocky Long. He's the head coach of San Diego State. San Diego State is going to depart for Pennsylvania. They're going to play at Penn State upcoming this Saturday. 12:30 pregame starts, 11:30 right here on the Mighty 1090. This is a game that will be on television, as we discussed a little bit early. If you are driving around, be sure to tune in this Saturday, 12:30 kickoff. It's our pleasure to say hello to Rocky Long. He's the head coach of the Aztecs, and he joins us on the Mighty 1090. Coach, Darren Smith, good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you, Darren. How's things?
Things are well, thank you very much. I appreciate the time, as always. I'll just jump right into this, Rocky. I know you're a guy who doesn't like wasting a lot of time. You said after the game over the weekend, a game in which you guys lost in overtime, you said we're not a good football team right now, and I always have appreciated your honesty when it comes to the podium, when it comes to the press conferences, or when it comes to these interviews here. When you say you're not a good football team, why not?
Well, obviously our players aren't playing at a consistent level. I mean, we're making some mental errors. Some veteran guys are making some mental errors that have surprised us some. We knew we'd struggle a little bit in the offensive line because of inexperience at a couple positions, new guys playing center and one of the guard positions. That's been, we thought they'd be better by now. They're not. We thought we'd be able to run the ball a little bit better, and we're not being able to run the ball, mostly because of the offensive line, I think. Our quarterbacks, we knew they'd be shaky a little bit early in the first game or so, but they've made some improvement, but not enough to make us a good football team. We're so inconsistent on offense. We're hot and cold on offense. That makes you not a very good football team. On defense, we do some really good things on defense, but we give up way too many big plays, and when you give up too many big plays, that makes you not a very good football team. Now, the one bright spot is we've been playing pretty good on special teams. But you better play good on two of the three parts of the game, or you're not very good.
That was a very, very thorough deconstruction of your team there, Coach. I wonder how many of those things that you just identified, the reasons why you said afterwards we're not a very good football team, how many of those things do you look at and say, all right, coaches, get in the room here. This stuff is fixable. How much of it can be corrected? How much of it do you worry is going to linger around your program all season?
Well, I've seen some, not very many, but I've seen some bright spots that I think our quarterback, Maxwell Smith, is getting better and better. Now, he's not getting better fast enough for us, obviously, or anybody else, but he showed signs of doing some really good things last weekend, and then had a lull for a little while there, and we got to get him over that. The offensive line situation, that's fixable. As long as the players keep trying hard and trying to, get their skill set up and still be aggressive at the line of scrimmage and all that, that's fixable because they're decent enough athletes. They're just not skilled enough yet, but that's all with practice. The big plays on defense, other than one of the big plays where one of our defensive backs just fell down, they've been assignment errors. And that's unusual because it's in the secondary. Now, we have one new guy back there right now, and he made two of the mistakes, but we can fix that. As long as the kids concentrate, we can fix that. We can fix the assignment error. So our quarterback getting better gives us a chance that it'll be fixed. How soon, I don't know. Getting the assignment errors fixed in the secondary will help that. And if we can continue on special teams like we are now, sooner or later we'll be able to play.
Talking to Rocky Long, head coach, San Diego State. Aztecs on the road this week. You can listen to it on the Mighty 1090, 12:30 against Penn State University. Rocky, I'm going to guess that most people listening here didn't see your game. I mean, unfortunately, in 2015, if you're not on television, I don't want to spend a ton of time on a game that most of my audience probably didn't watch. But for you, losing at home to the University of South Alabama, I mean, what was there a turning point in this? Is there one thing that really stood out to you? If you could, for people that didn't get a chance to see it, that might be going, I wonder what happened in that one, because it looked like it's 17-3. It looked like late in the game, late in the fourth quarter, you guys were going to walk out of there with a win. What went wrong for you?
Well, several things. I thought it was a game of momentum shifts. I think that there were some people that didn't realize that South Alabama has some good athletes and have had some success in the past and have really improved their team with some recruits they got this last season. But that was maybe the image wasn't what we wanted it to be, but there was a ebb and flow of the game. At one time we had the momentum right before halftime, we fumble. Our DB falls down. They throw a Hail Mary touchdown pass, so we go in at halftime without the momentum, even though we had it most of the first half. First play out of the box, second play out of the box, they break a long run because we had a guy there to make the tackle. He made the guy miss. The guy goes for a long run, and now all of a sudden the game's tied. Then we kind of took the momentum back away from them, and then we gave it right back to them with some probably questionable skill set plays where we probably threw the ball to the wrong guy or a guy drops a pass, and so they got the momentum back, and then we did a real nice job on offense. We drove it down and took a 3-point lead. We missed a field goal that would have made it a 6-point lead, and then they drove the ball and kicked the field goal and put it into overtime, and we played really poorly in overtime.
So it wasn't one thing. It wasn't the end of the half where your defensive back goes down. It wasn't the fumble, as aggravating as that must have been at the time. It sounds like it was a series of things over the span of 3 quarters.
Yeah, and in fact, I told somebody, and they think I'm crazy, but I told somebody if I was a fan that didn't have a loyalty to one side or the other, I would have thought it was a very entertaining game. There was a lot of ups and downs. There was a lot of big plays on both sides of the ball. The trouble is when you are on one side or the other, one team ends up happy, the other ends up sad.
Yep, and that's you guys this week. We're talking to Rocky Long. You seemed afterwards again, and I'm bringing this up just because I wasn't there, so I don't know. So I'm asking and giving you an opportunity here to explain it. But you seemed ticked off, understandably afterwards. You're ticked off after a loss. You just told us why. You just lost your second consecutive game. You lose at home to South Alabama. But you seem ticked off, Rocky. I don't want to put words in your mouth here. At the idea that somehow losing to South Alabama was some sort of calamity, like that was a calamitous result here, that somehow South Alabama should have just rolled over and that you guys should have just won the football game. Am I getting that right about the post-game press conference?
Well, I don't like when there's a disrespect or disregard for your opponent, whoever it is. South Alabama is a bunch of kids. They have 85 scholarships. They're a Division I team. They went to a bowl game last year. They improved their team by taking 9 players from another bowl team that dropped their program. So their skill level and their ability is a lot better than anybody gave them credit for. So I don't like when people disrespect the opponent that you're playing, no matter who it is. And then the reference is we must be so bad that we lost to a team that was that bad. I mean, that's disrespect for the game, in my opinion, and I don't like when people disrespect the game.
So for clarification purposes here, you guys in South Alabama, you would consider yourselves on somewhat equal footing? I mean, would that be fair to say that this is not a 1AA program or an FCS school, whatever it's referred to these days? That even though you guys were considerable favorites in the game, and I know point spreads is somewhat of a touchy subject with coaches at times, but you would consider, South Alabama, San Diego State, there shouldn't be this opinion here that you guys are just that much markedly better than they are.
Yeah, I don't think there should have been that opinion. Obviously, most people had that opinion.
Right.
I don't think there should have been because I watched those kids on film when we were scouting them. I watched them for 5 straight days on film, and I could see they had some ability. I could see that they were maybe hot and cold as we were, and I could see it as a really good game because the skill level on both sides, the athletic ability on both sides was very, very equal.
Right. And I think that that's an important point because I would tell you that I didn't know anything. I really didn't know much about the University of South Alabama, but I think it's understandable, maybe not where you sit, Rocky, but I think it's understandable for a lot of people to say, well, I never really heard of this program. They don't play in one of these big-time conferences, and they come in here as a huge underdog here. I think, you have to – would you think it's unreasonable for somebody to just assume automatically that that's a rollover game for you guys at home?
Well, I think that the fans that investigate, I think there's fans that come for the entertainment value and for the emotion, the highs and lows of the emotion. I think that's different than someone that knows the game and wants to get into the X and O part of the game and wants to know about the opponent. I think that a lot of fans assume that. And so then their reaction to what happens is tainted because they don't respect or don't know the other team.
All fair. Rocky Long joining us here on the Mighty 1090. Rocky, in terms of where you guys are, you play your final non-conference game this weekend. You're playing at Penn State. and then you get into conference play, Fresno State, a couple of games down the road here. I just wonder, when you look at it here, in order to get, are you even thinking about bowl eligibility at this point, or are you just 100% focused on Penn State this weekend?
No, we're just trying to win a game. I mean, gee whiz, yeah, we've got quite a few games left to play, so we still have most of the season left to go. And like I said earlier, and we have to prove that we're a better team than we've been. But right now, we're not a good football team. So we've got to use these games to get better and get into conference play and try to win the conference championship. That's our number one goal. We're disappointed that we're not better, and I thought we would be better than we are right now. We're disappointed that we're not better than we are, but that doesn't change the fact that young people go back to work and try to make things better, and we all have a positive attitude about it, and we enjoy playing the game. That doesn't change.
Okay. Well, I'll save the math for when you guys get into conference play about how many games you might have to win in order to get bowl eligible. We'll save that for a different conversation. Talk to us a little bit about this week, Rocky. What kind of opportunity presents itself to you guys going on the road, playing a Big Ten opponent in their building? It's one of the blue blood programs there in Penn State.
Well, I think I'm excited because I've never been there. I've never, I've seen it on TV. I've never been there. I think our team is excited for a lot of reasons. I mean, we're going to a place that they all know about, but none of them have ever been there. So they're going to play in front of 100,000 people that are very partisan fans toward the Nittany Lions, and they'll be loud and excited, so there'll be a lot of energy in the stadium. It's a great experience for our players to be in that kind of setting. Normally that means you're a little too emotional at the beginning of the game, but once the game starts, you settle in, and then it's a great experience as a player and as a coach. So we're excited about that possibility of playing. And then we believe that if we play well enough, that we have enough skill set, that if we play well enough, we have a chance to win the game. Now, everybody else will say we don't, but that's okay. I mean, around here, everybody said South Alabama didn't have a chance either. So we'll go back and be excited about playing and see what we can do and do the best we can.
How long have you been watching Penn State? I mean, so this game has been talked about since it was scheduled. I'm guessing we're going on 2 years now thinking about San Diego State playing on the road at Penn State. It's not the first time you've gone and traveled and played at Michigan or Notre Dame, Ohio State, what have you, or Missouri to in recent memory here. But how long have you personally been thinking, wow, you know what? I mean, at Penn State here, that's a game that people have had circled on their calendars for years.
Well, I mean, I thought about it as soon as it was scheduled about how cool it would be because I'd never been there. I'd like to go to all those kind of stadiums. Like you said, I've been to a bunch of them, but I haven't been to this one. So I thought about it then. Now, in the summer, we break down our first four opponents, so we watch all their films from last year for the first four teams we play. So we watched all their games from last year, and then obviously this week we've been working, exclusively on the three games they've played so far this season. So it's been on our mind ever since it was scheduled.
Hey, Rocky, my final thing for you, and again, just, you could choose to skip this or you can choose to respond to it. It's up to you. But there is a column written today locally, local newspaper here. It was written by Kevin Acey. He seems to suggest, maybe San Diego State as a program has topped out under Rocky Long here. I don't know if you've had a chance to see it, but at the very least, I want to give you a chance if you want to respond to it.
Well, I have seen it because I'm one of the few people in the world that still reads a newspaper. So I have read the article, and everybody's got their right to their opinion as long as they know I have my right to my opinion.
And your opinion?
Well, I think he's full of it, but I mean, everybody has a right to say what they want to say.
Okay. So then there you go. You believe that you still can. You're the right guy for the job, and you can do what he thinks you can't do, which is beat a big-time team.
Yeah, I think so. I'm going to have to do some research to see when the last time it was ever done here and how many years it took that coach to do it.
Well, hey, Rocky, best of luck this weekend. There'd be no better way to respond to that column than a victory this weekend at Penn State. Thank you very much for the time. Good luck this weekend, Rocky.
I appreciate it, Darren. Thanks.